What is going on, you guys? AK40 Kevin here in the Gamer Heaven. Today we're going to be talking about why Sony should offer a first-party, so licensed Sony product, premium controller version of the Dualsense 5 with paddles, trigger locks, and a bunch of other features like that. How it would be lucrative for them, some of the features they should include, and some of the ones that they should leave out from previous premium controllers that I have tested, as I have tested close to 30 premium controllers on this site. Nacon Revolution, Razer, PowerA Fusion, Aim Scuff, Battle Beaver, the entire Razer lineup, the entire Scuff lineup, minus one controller that I haven't got my hands on yet, the Microsoft Elite 1 and 2, as well as a ton of disassembly and tutorial videos on how to customize controllers, as I do have a small business customizing controllers, pictures on screen here, that I've been running for about a year and a half now. I've done now over 263 customer builds. I'm on my 264th right now. Well, I actually have 3 pending torn apart controllers in my house right now waiting for customers, one of which is a Dualsense 5, and I am going to be doing a disassembly video of that right after this video here, so that is coming out today, so stay tuned for that, as disassembly on this is completely different than any other controller I've ever touched. It's very complicated and it has some very intricate pieces in it. I am going to be linking this video to Sony's hardware department. Will they view it? Yes, probably. Will they get back to me? Most likely. Will they take this information into consideration? Perhaps. If enough people are showing interest and a need for a Dualsense 5 custom controller from Sony with a warranty, with paddles and stuff like that, that has full support for the features that the PS5 has baked into it, this could be something that comes into fruition for us gamers, which would be fantastic for everyone. So, without further ado, let's crack right into this. Alrighty guys, so first of all I'm going to start out by saying that there has been an immense amount of success with the Microsoft Elite 1 and 2. The 1 is still being bought on Amazon. People are still buying them in the used market from Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and stuff like that. Not to mention, there are rumors that Microsoft is working on an Elite 3, which I just made a video yesterday that was received quite well about some of the changes and new iterations they should do with the 3rd generation Elite to fix the quality control issues they have had at the Elite side of the house, as there have been some issues with bumpers, stick drift, and face buttons, which is unacceptable for a controller in the 160 to 180 range. But they're obviously still selling. They sell out of Amazon stock quite frequently. I see them out of stock quite a bit. And, they weren't the best premium controller I've ever tested, but they were by no means the worst. And the fact that it is a licensed Microsoft product, as in all the functionality for the Xbox is baked into it, an accessory suite where you can map the trigger functions, the paddles on the back, and adjust analog stick dead zones and stuff like that directly from your Xbox without having to install a third-party app or anything like that. And then it also is plug and play with the Windows 10 PC instantly, just by plugging it into your tower, and you have full support for Steam, Big Picture, and stuff like that. That's really awesome, and Sony should definitely jump on that bandwagon. So with the PlayStation 4, Sony never released, well, they never have, period, even back to the previous generation consoles, but with the last gen, the PS4, there was no Sony custom controller. There were a ton of premium controllers you could buy, which I've tested on the site. The Razer Raiju, the Nacon Revolution, the Astro C40, just to name a few of the more popular ones. Now, the reason why this is somewhat of an issue now is that the Dualsense 5 is a completely different controller than the PS4 controller. Completely. I mean, this is $70, not $60. And the reason for that is it has 2 really serious features in it. It has haptic feedback, which is a much more advanced vibration that goes all the way around the hand grips and is very, until you feel it, you can't really describe it. It's crazy. And then it also has adaptive triggers, which get stiffer or lighter depending on what you're doing in games. So like pulling back a bow might get really stiff. Or if you're in like an old muscle car in a racing game, the brake and gas might be a little bit more finicky and might judder around in your hand and stuff like that. And third-party companies like Nacon and Razer and stuff, they're not going to be able to create premium controllers for the PS5 for 2 reasons. One, they don't have the patents for that technology. That belongs to Sony. And two, even if they could create it, it wouldn't have full software support within the PS5. You'd have to install some kind of patch or driver, which the PS5 as of current is very finicky with third-party software, so that would be an issue. Sony could definitely bank in right now on the fact that the DualSense 5 is already $70. If they do create a premium controller, a premium DualSense 5, it most likely will retail for at least $180. Because think about it, their production costs, not to mention the demand for that product, people will be scooping it up, just like people are scooping up the PS5 if they can get their hands on one. Now, getting all of that prerequisites out of the way and whatnot, I'm just going to jump right in with what they should do with this controller. So obviously they have the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers, and that is fantastic. Now, face buttons feel okay. If they wanted to increase their production costs just a little bit, but it would also market the controller better, they could add full mechanical face buttons like the Razer controllers. So the full lineup, the Wolverine and the Reiju, those all have mechanical face buttons. So not a membrane that has a rubber plunger under here, but it's like a gaming keyboard or gaming mouse. It's like a tactile click, which feels great, and they're also much more durable than these traditional membrane buttons. I think they're rated for over 1 million clicks, which is pretty crazy, and you can go well over that, and you're not going to have any failures or anything like that. So I would say full mechanical face buttons, Sony, if you're listening. Also, adjustable thumbsticks, just like the Elite 2, where you have magnetized thumbsticks. They should have where it is the bottom of the thumbstick, and then obviously the caps remove with magnets. That is a great design. And, you know, out of the box, when you buy the premium controller, it comes with 6 sticks. You have a domed, a concaved, and then 2 different heights. That'll allow people to get, you know, a higher right stick for that precision aiming. And then not to mention, underneath there, when you pop off the cap, there can be a little screw with a specialized Sony tool that you put in there that you can tighten up your thumbstick sensitivity. I think that is a fantastic feature on the Elite 2. It was not on the Elite 1. But I loved it on the Elite 2, and I think it's great. It's the only premium controller that I had tested that had increased thumbstick tension that you could adjust. Now, I've tested other controllers that you can order from the company, like AIM, Battle Beaver, Scuff, for an extra $15, $20 if you want a different thumbstick module that is stiffer all the time. But you don't always want it stiffer, you know what I mean? So... Or do you, ladies? But anyway, if they could get the D-pad mechanical as well, that'd be great. But again, that's just increasing their manufacturing costs, which in turn is going to increase the price for the consumer, us, to pay. So there's that. The triggers, obviously they have those kick-ass adaptive triggers. The stock bumpers feel okay. I mean, again, mechanical is better than these membranes, but I mean, that's not a huge deal or anything like that. Triggers, they have those kick-ass adaptive triggers, which are fantastic, but they should offer a trigger lock system, a 3-stage trigger lock system. Even if they did a 2, which is just, you know, full pull, or you click them on, and it's like a real precise small squeeze so you can bust off those quick semi-automatic shots, that's cool. A 3-stage would be better, where you put it in the middle setting, you get about a half pull, click it all the way on, and you're getting a real hair trigger pull. That'd be really cool, and that's really easy to install. I know that from a custom controller builder standpoint, you just implement them into the back shell, and when you move that lever over, a little pin comes in here and will block off the triggers. So that's not too crazy or anything like that. And then the big one here is paddles. Now, I do not recommend they go with a 2-paddle design like they did with the Sony, those PS4 paddles that they put on the back. I wasn't a huge fan of those, to the point to where I didn't even review them on the channel. I only had them for a couple days, and I didn't get around to doing a review, but they were really nothing to write home about, especially for the price and the fact that they didn't produce many of them, so they're really hard to get a hold of, which I don't recommend you do anyway. But Sony needs to go with a 4-paddle design. Now, if they do a magnetic system where they can remove certain paddles if you don't need them, so if people prefer to have 2 paddles or whatever, that's cool. But the majority of people that want to get a premium controller for shooters want to keep their fingers on the thumbsticks and have all the face buttons, or, you know, maybe a D-pad button or L3 and R3, whatever they assign it to the back paddles, which should be 4 of them. Now, the design that I recommend them going with, because obviously they cannot imitate or replicate, you know, Razer's Wolverine paddles or Scuff Vantage paddles, because those are all patented and they don't want to infringe on their copyright, but their patent on that particular design. But they could do something very similar to the Nacon Revolution, pictures on screen here, which had sunken into the back shell 4 really nice clicky buttons. They're not tactile or anything like that, but they felt good. I think that'd be a great design, or they could even do buttons like an aim controller. Not aim. Aim has paddles. Actually, they do offer buttons as well. But anyway, pictures on screen here of a button design they could do here. And, you know, most importantly, these need to be remappable. So maybe they have a button on the back down here, up and out of the way of your fingers so you don't accidentally hit it. Or maybe, you know, you hold down these two buttons for 5 seconds and then the light bar will start pulsating back and forth, and then you're in mappable mode. So you press whatever face button you want and then whatever paddle you want, and you're mapped to that. It should be remappable on the fly from the controller. You should not need to plug it into your PS5 or PC in order to run a software program to do that. They could have that as an option, but that shouldn't be the only way to map. You should be able to map on the fly. So you don't have to quit your game, go into a software program to remap your paddles every single time you launch a new game. Speaking of which, they should have at least 2 to 3, I would say 3, onboard profiles where you can, you know, maybe double tap these or something, or like an extra button down here, I guess by the speaker grill somewhere, where you can switch onboard profiles. So it's stored on the chip. So if you have one for a racing game, one for Fortnite, one for Warzone, and, you know, when you hit the button, it'll change, you know, blue, green, red. So, you know, okay. Or, you know, 2 illuminated LED lights, 3 illuminated LED lights, so you know what profile you're on. And that way, you can have onboard profiles, remappable on the fly, and it'll save to that profile. So between those things I just mentioned here, mechanical face buttons, optional, would be great. Definitely adjustable thumbstick tension, trigger locks, and a 4-paddle design. You know, leave it up to the Sony engineers to come up with something that'll work over there, but my recommendation would be a sunken-in button design that's out of the way so they're not accidentally actuated when you're just trying to hold the controller normally, but all 4 of them should be comfortably able to be covered at all times so you can use your index and your middle fingers to press them. Don't be like the Scuff Vantage 2 where you need to slide your fingers back and forth in order to hit the exact paddle you want. That design, in my opinion, is extremely clumsy, and they feel really brittle too, like they could break pretty easily. And that is going to do it, guys. I just wanted to cover, for one, Sony should do a DualSense 5 premium controller. Obviously, they're not going to call it the Elite, 'cause that's Microsoft's term, but, you know, the DualSense 5 Premium, or DualSense 5 Pro, or DualSense 5 Nighthawk, or DualSense 5 Tomahawk, or DualSense 5 Knuckle Duster, or some cool name like that. Yeah. Please put in the comments section below if you guys have any more ideas. If it's something that I think of, that, or it's something I read in the comment section that I'm like, holy shit, why did I not think of that? That's awesome. I will include this in the email that I am going to be sending to Sony's hardware department. I do have faith that they will at least read it and respond to me, because I have, you know, reached out to large companies like Razer and Corsair in the past with recommendations for their products, as well as, you know, trying to get sponsors for the channel and stuff. And even though I had a small channel, or have a small channel now, but I think when I emailed those companies, I was even smaller. They still got back to me and were very helpful and like, you know, thank you for this information. We always appreciate customer feedback. And it wasn't just like some generic, you know, fucking email. It was like a legit person from their hardware department that was like, you know, we have thought about implementing new paddle designs, blah, blah, blah. Like, they were actually interacting with me, which was cool because, you know, I'm just like a Joe Schmo YouTuber. I'm not some big dog yet. Daddy's going to blow up. So please put in the comment section below if you guys have any kind of recommendations or any kind of great ideas that you would like mentioned to Sony. Also, if you guys do like content relating to custom PC peripherals, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, PC builds, as well as tutorials on how to get better at your favorite games, honest game reviews, product reviews around the gadget and gizmo realm, please consider subscribing. It definitely supports me personally, helps the channel to grow, keeps me motivated to create content like this, and also to come up with new original ideas that I think are going to be spicy for the gaming community. So that is going to do it, guys. I hope you have a great afternoon. I'll see you in the next video when I disassemble the DualSense 5. All right, guys. Peace.